Okay, what's up? So, you know when a company basically releases a first generation product and then they release the second generation expecting it to be better. You expect it for the iPhone, the first Samsung, the first Mac, Windows laptop. And so that is what we have here. This is an example of that. The first Nintendo Switch was a game changer for handheld gaming and portable gaming for, the Go. And the idea of the Switch was that you could dock it to the TV as well. And so this is the Switch 2. And we'll just say that the Switch 2 is a major improvement from the original Switch in a lot of ways, from the display to the design, controls, and some new sensors and features, as well as some other items that we can talk about more later. But this video will be broken up into chapters so you guys can skip around. I'm not going to stop you here to listen to me talk about one part of each thing, but we're going to get also some hands-on time with the actual console. So definitely stay tuned. But first of all, let's just talk about the overall design. So the Switch 2 has a nice design. The Joy-Cons have been redesigned with a larger fit as well as a new sensor in the actual Joy-Con that works just like a mouse, which I will show an example of soon. The idea of the design is that the magnets are actually able to attach to the Switch. There you go, like that. And so whenever you say need to detach the Joy-Con, you can pull that lever back and it will release it. And there will be this little sort of like thumb that comes out and it will release it from the magnet, or push it back, I should say. And then to put it back on, just like that. I will say that you can, pull the Joy-Con off like that. It's probably not really recommended to do that, and it's really just because the actual Switch 2 itself has connection pins right there. And these connection pins have some give to them. The reason why that being is just because if it didn't have some give to them, they would actually probably just snap in half right away. And so these connection pins are actually pretty important for the actual console itself. But yeah, they just snap on like that. And so it's super convenient. It's super seamless. You're not having to slide on and slide off Joy-Cons or, have Joy-Cons get stuck on rails. They work pretty well together. The new kickstand is a new refreshed model. It's now, instead of the whole back plate like the OLED moving up, it's now just this little like handle, which I'm not really a big fan of. The reason why is just because a little kid is probably just holding their Switch like this all the time. I definitely think that the OLED had a better kickstand on the back, really just that whole back plate moving up. This still does work well though. Like you can still like dock it or put it on a table for tabletop mode and it will, stay up, unlike that weird little ledge that Nintendo gave us for the first Switch. But I definitely think that it's not the biggest improvement from the Switch OLED having, the whole back plate move. I'm just not really a fan of, this. But it's still pretty cool. The actual console itself has two USB-C ports. So it has one on the top for handheld mode, and then it has one on the bottom for the docked mode. Now you can plug it in for both power and AC. So if you ever need to charge up while you're playing handheld with friends, then you can totally use the top or bottom. It's definitely super convenient. There's also a microphone slot for the actual console, which is pretty neat for voice chat and game chat, which I haven't really gotten to try out yet, but I definitely probably might do like a little YouTube short about that in the future. There is a micro SD slot for express cards. So I have a 256 gig express card in here. The Switch actually comes with 256 gigs base storage. So that's pretty nice for downloading games. So the display. So the actual console itself has a 1080p LCD 120 hertz display. The LCD looks pretty nice. There are some things that I could say about it that don't really look the best compared to the OLED. The OLED had that OLED display, which was able to dim perfectly in, say pitch black settings. So if you're playing darker games like Assassin's Creed Shadows, which I don't even think is available on the original Switch, or or just like a darker version of Mario Kart, say you're racing in a nighttime themed map, the Switch OLED definitely captures the perfect black levels better. And it's really just because it's able to dim each zone individually at the same time. But I don't think that it's the biggest problem, especially because Nintendo I'm sure they will make an OLED Switch too. But I will say that the bezels on this thing are a little chunky. They're a little big, not really important. All right, load times, processing speeds. So this Switch 2 is rocking a new version of NVIDIA Tegra. Now the idea of this chip, it's actually running DLSS, which is a lot better for, I guess you could say, ray tracing and AI enhancements, making graphics and games look so much better and pop more on the TV or in handheld mode. It's also got 12 gigs of DDR5 RAM, so being able to load games quicker while working together with that SSD to keep the cache data in stock. So I definitely think that Nintendo is in the right hand for doing that. But enough me talking, let's get some hands time with this actual console. So let's do it. So notice how as I'm powering on the Switch 2, you can kind of see how that LCD display sort of lacks there, but thus as like it not being able to dim each zone, which is totally fine. I don't think it's, you know, the best option for a lot of people. But I mean, who am I to blame, to be honest? I'm glad Nintendo is able to improve the actual product. There's one other pet peeve that I had with it, and that's the sounds. They're not really as satisfying as the first one, like the click. It doesn't really like do the little like switch snap that we're kind of used to. It kind of just, yeah, or like whenever you enter in like the eShop, it doesn't really sound as cool, or like, yeah, going home sounds a little funny, settings, but I definitely think it's not the coolest part. But let's check this thing out in docked mode. So I got my TV right here. So this is the actual console docked up. And as you can see, this is a 4K TV. And so the actual graphics and everything looks so much better. And there actually is a setting in settings to, let's just say, if you don't want every title to support HDR, you can turn off HDR completely, or you can, you know, you can say only turn on HDR for content that actually supports it. I put it to full software. Now I have been thinking about changing it to only compatible software, and it's really just because it looks a lot better in some areas, really just because it doesn't look over sharpened or oversaturated in any way. Now, here was the feature that uses that new little mouse tool. And so the idea is that you can put the mouse on the table like this, and then you can move it around on the TV as you are moving. And then you just use your trigger finger to actually click on items, and then you just hit the B button to go back, and it will go back for you. I definitely think that the mouse feature is sort of a gimmick. Now, I understand that some titles have been taking advantage of this, and I totally think that is cool for them. But I definitely don't think it's the coolest feature ever. But let's load up a game, because like, let's load up Fortnite. Fortnite used to take forever to load on the original Nintendo Switch, but this is the Switch 2 version of Fortnite. And so it's going to load so much faster with that new SSD inside, but it's also, other games will load so much better whenever you put them on the expansion card. I always thought that some games were a little choppy when using the expansion card, but now that it's an express slot and it's able to read data quicker, it definitely looks a lot better. And so this is putting colors out in 4K HDR, which I will say do look nice, but notice how fast the console is actually able to load me in. We're already logging in. I just hit press start, and now it's loading, and we're about to be in. And so it loads so much quicker than, you know, what, oh wow, got some new rewards. Anyway, it loads so much quicker than how the other original Switch used to handle Fortnite. I definitely think that the other, and especially just the original Switch, will probably lose support for Fortnite in the next coming of months, or maybe the next year. And it's really just because the hardware in that original Switch isn't really the best, but that's only for Epic Games to tell. So that is, you know, a little bit of an experience on the Nintendo Switch, and I'll actually pull my phone out. Here's the actual Switch in the dock, and so the dock itself is black, and there are actually some fans back here. So as it's working hard, you know, producing all that footage, the dock is a little bit thicker as well. And you can also notice that little pin that I was talking about that hooks to the Joy-Cons. So pretty neat, but let's get back to the chair. Now I know I'm gonna get a lot of, you know, like, oh, why'd you get a Switch 2? Why didn't you just buy the new ROG Ally? So I used to have an ROG Ally, and if you haven't seen that review, definitely just click up here. But the ROG Ally was an awesome console, or at least a handheld hybrid, I should say. The problem with the ROG Ally was that the hardware was already starting to age after, you know, just the 3 years of having it. Now, I didn't have it for the complete 3 years. I only had it for about like 6 months. And it's not that I had a problem with it. It's that I wasn't able to smoothly load into software. Now, I get that it was a device that was running Windows, but if you think about it, like SteamOS runs much similar to console-style software, how I can just turn off the console in a game and then come back to it, you know, 4 hours later and resume back to where I was. The ROG Ally was like, I would turn off the console, it would start to hibernate. Now, I get you can turn that off, but it would hibernate, and then I'd turn it back on, and it would reopen the game, but the game would just run super choppy on Windows, and then it would take a little bit longer for it to, you know, actually fully catch back up to where I was in the game. Now, I get that Xbox is, you know, trying to fix this with the Xbox full screen experience. I don't think that they're going to be able to fix it pretty soon though. And so that's why I was able to choose a Switch. And so my last take, how did I get my hands on this Switch? So I got my hands on the Switch by being able to successfully trade with someone online. Now, I'm normally not the kind of guy that's going to trade something online. I mean, are you kidding me? I literally don't want to even worry about doing that just because of how dangerous it is. You can get scammed, and what I did was very risky. I traded a whole ROG Ally Z1X, everything, for a Switch 2. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, you're so stupid. But no, I think I'm pretty smart for doing it, and I don't see a problem with it. The problem is that I was just risking a lot of hard-earned money, time, trying to make sure that this guy would actually switch with me. LOL, pun, no pun intended. But they would switch the actual correct console with me too, because I wasn't about to, you know, lose the, you know, I didn't want to lose my ROG Ally for nothing. So I'm actually glad that my guy was actually able to follow through. He was able to switch with me. He was super cool, super nice, but definitely not something that I'd recommend. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to see some more content with the Switch 2, definitely just hit that like button or that subscribe button. I'll see you around. Probably see you in the shorts feed. So yeah, peace.